We acknowledge that the Burbs podcast is taking place on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Coquitlam First Nation. We thank the Coquitlam who continue to live on these lands and care for them, along with the waters and all that is above and below. Okay. Welcome back to the Burbs podcast. On today's episode, we have Liam, and we are in Coquitlam on the Coquitlam Crunch near the top. And yeah, it's a nice cloudy Friday. How you feeling, Liam?
It's good. Thank you for having me on. And gosh, like the Crunch does bring back so many great memories growing up.
What are some memories you have?
Walking up and down. We used to do in middle school. We'd have like races up here every year.
Races?
Yeah.
It's quite steep.
Yeah, I think one summer, going into grade 10, we tried to do it every morning and lasted about a week, but it was a lot of fun nonetheless.
A week is better than not a week. Well, that's awesome. I feel like me as well, with different people, different years, it's just like a thing you do.
Yes.
Okay, so you just came back from Toronto or Ontario.
Yes.
How does it feel to be back in the Burbs?
Gosh, I think like floods my mind with like memories. It's different. Like I grew up here and then obviously left, or to you obviously, but I left 2 days after finishing high school, and then with like made a few trips like back and forth. But so coming back here, there's always like so many memories, and it definitely had a lot of influence on who I am today, and I don't think I could change that even if I tried, and I don't think I'd want to because it was pretty darn good growing up.
What was your experience like growing up, or like what was your perspective on Coquitlam?
Outdoorsy, suburban, not like, I feel like it's a really good middle ground because I lived in some cities since and small towns, and like Coquitlam kind of, it's not like like the heart of Vancouver where it feels like you're in the heart of a city, but it's also, there's so much to do and so much nature and so much going on. So it was a pretty awesome place to grow up. And I think the outdoors aspect definitely had an influence on me. I mean, even moving to like Ontario, you don't really go biking in the winter, but I was looking at my old hard drive a couple weeks ago and like looking at old GoPro clips from like January or like around Christmas time, just like biking through trails, and just, it was always very rainy though. But
I didn't realize you were such an avid biker.
I just love it. Like, not like, I was never good enough to be like competitive at it, but
hobby's a hobby.
Exercise, I guess.
Where would you go around here?
Well, no, not the Crunch. Sorry, the Poco Trail in Crystal Falls a lot.
Okay.
Burke Mountain. Once I think in high school there was a mountain bike club in grade 9. I don't know if it might have only been in grade 9, but we would go to like Eagle Mountain or Burke Mountain, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. Since like that was like when I started doing more like getting into like bigger like trails and stuff. And I never went too crazy, but like yeah, it's just so much fun, like pedaling up hills and going back down again. There's nothing like it.
There isn't. Did your perspective on Coquitlam change? Or even just like Vancouver, like the Lower Mainland, BC?
I guess when you come back after having different experiences, it's weird, because I think for a while when I grew up, like I wanted to, it's kind of lost on me for a while, or I wanted to kind of be a new person, as I think it's pretty common probably in like adolescence. Like you're done high school, you move far away, and like you could be, it feels like a blank slate, but then you like come to realize you can't really like change, you literally can't change the past. But
who did you want to be, or what did you want to be?
It changes a lot, or it changed a lot, and I'm still going through it. But I think like I got really into music and everything, so with that came like go through a lot of phases, different like
Mhm.
artists and stuff. And ironically, I feel more like who I was now. Like now, I feel more who I was when I was like in middle school or something versus
Mm.
like the past couple of years probably. But you take all that with you wherever you go, and
Mhm.
kind of, I think, it kind of shapes you. It's like
Yeah.
more colors of paint.
Yeah. Was there a reason you wanted to change, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. Yeah, probably out of a place of like wanting to fit in or find your place in the world.
Okay.
And then find a sense of like a healthy like self-esteem, I guess. But with maybe there's like a bit of like imposter syndrome, like you're trying to figure out who you want to be and how you can be good enough to be what you want to be. But there's a big gap because like I always thought right away like, or weirdly like I always wanted to do music, but you don't. Not everybody starts. You know, like I might have had like a little bit of talent, but well, I can't even watch old like songs or videos from like past couple. It's it's brutal to me at least. So
no, I feel that like when I look back on my past work too.
Yeah, which is good though apparently, because like
Then
in
you
a
see
healthy
progress, you've grown,
exactly.
Yeah, you can see what's good and bad, or not good and bad, but like your growth and development. Yeah.
Yeah, and to look at that in a healthy way, I'm not sure I was like equipped mentally growing up to do that yet. So I think there's me here and there's like me where like you dream about being, and then the in between is like it's not easy, and maybe I don't know, you like try on different hats and different things and you try to like circumvent it a little bit, but then you come back and you're like, oh shoot, I was just supposed to be me all along. if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
I don't know.
Are you writing a song about this or something? It's a great.
Maybe.
Okay.
Probably. I mean, I'll try.
Where are you at in this journey right now?
Gosh. 24. We're 24.
We're 24.
Oh, that feels...
How does that feel?
I was talking with my friend earlier today about this. And she was like, is there an age you like feel you are? Like, do you feel like you're 18 or do you feel like... And I think in the past I would have felt like 18 or like younger. But this time I feel a little bit older, I think. Like, not too old, but as you... I don't know. I think here too, I feel very covered, like in love too, with like friends and family coming back here. And I think the product of like when you feel that is you want to give it back. And like I've made so many mistakes and stuff and bumped and crashed on so many couches and so many places. And it's like, as I'm getting older, like ideally one day, I think people aspire to like, I don't know, you like grow up and then you're like, once you're grown up, which probably always like doing it's
together.
Like you want to like help younger people or like have kids one day or like other stuff, like give back into the world, but you feel like it's now I can only speak for myself, but I've like now that I've come back here a little bit older, I just feel very like holy, it's overwhelming, like the love and like the people and the memories and experiences, and to be able to like say that well, okay, but put it this way, there's like a pie chart. You got like 100 years on this planet, right? And you're like the first 18, like you're just born where you're born in the neighborhood where you grow up, you go to the schools, and a lot of people you don't like process till you're a bit older. And like to say like I've had so many great experiences here and such a great childhood and like so much to be thankful for, like it's overwhelming because it's like Coquitlam was a pretty darn good place to grow up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I can like, not everybody gets that, you know what I mean? And so it's like, how can we make more people get that one day through whatever we're good at, and I guess, or we want to get, I don't know, or whatever we like to do. How do you pick what to do in your life?
Yeah. That is like a similar sentiment to a lot of the episodes, actually.
Interesting.
Of people just like really appreciating Coquitlam.
There's a lot to, I mean, geographically BC is pretty awesome.
It is. I feel like we should have taken a shot of this area that we're in too. Like,
True. It is. It's so or
there's just so much.
it's the epitome of like Coquitlam here. It feels like.
There's a basketball court behind us. There's a pickleball court over there.
Soccer field up
Over
there.
There's a trail right there.
Neat.
And there's a mountain right behind the camera going up.
Very, very BC.
And there's like a river and creek up there. And yeah, I can only speak for myself too. Like, I didn't realize how great of a place this was. Like, this seemed so normal. Like, this is just like what a suburb is.
Yeah.
But it's actually not.
That's so true, actually. Yeah, the nature element is
Yeah.
really like next level.
Yeah, the variety and like, it's not just all flat and barren and like, there's color and green. Yeah.
Yeah, and that shapes. Do you think it shaped your like lens or like your style through art and stuff?
I'm
A
not
little bit.
sure. I don't know. Like, I want to say yes, but I can't think of like a direct connection.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like, maybe like for my mental health.
Yeah, more interesting.
Well, what do you think? You've done Ontario and you've done here. Has anything changed?
When I can kind of look at it from like a more sober lens as like an adult, it does. It's very homely in some aspects, and
Mhm.
there's got to be like some spirit to like. I didn't think this at the time, or when I was younger, but like it does feel I just kind of like vibe with the whole like West Coast thing, and it was like,
Mm.
and I never tried to, or, like, out of everything I tried to be, I'd never try to be from the West Coast, but it just kind of feels natural now, I guess. So
Mm.
it's pretty cool, like how that works out, in my opinion.
It's in your blood.
Yeah.
Huh.
I guess
Could
so.
people like tell? I guess like when you interact with people in Ontario, they were like, "Oh, you're from the West Coast."
I don't know, actually. Well, maybe. People have said that, so
Mm. What do you think that is? Like, what is the giveaway?
I don't know. Just
Okay.
like I like being by the water. That's one thing. Like not being like near a body of water is difficult. And we
Mm.
lived like in Ontario by the St. Lawrence River, so it was like it was good. But I tried like Calgary once for a couple months, and like it was like it was weird. Like not being. I mean, there's still the river in Calgary, but it's a lot smaller,
Mm.
which I do not know the name of off the top of my head. But yeah, it was funny too, 'cause like geographically, there's always something to point at, like the mountains, for, like
Mm.
north too. I think. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. Like, aren't we all directionally challenged though in this information age when our maps does everything on our phones?
The mountains are north.
But wait, there's also like Mount Baker, so that's got to be south. I don't know. We're in
figure it
Coquitlam.
out.
We're in Coquitlam.
Okay, and then you said you are planning on moving back to BC or moving to BC. How do you
Yeah.
feel about that, and how did you come to that decision?
Well, I got a one-way ticket for camping, and then it's just kind of, yeah, I didn't really. Sometimes lack of plans, like
Mhm.
that's been like a weird theme.
But
of,
you
like,
booked it one way, isn't that not a plan too?
well, I guess keeping it open-ended. Like I didn't
Okay.
intend to, like I wasn't opposed to
Mm-hmm.
coming back to Ontario or not, but I didn't really have a whole lot going on, so I thought, let's just get the one way and then see what happens. And then of course, like coming back here from like it's been almost a year since I last visited, and a lot has changed, like mentally since then, I guess,
Mm.
too. So it was, you're feeling like little bits of growth along the way. So
Mhm.
every time I come back, like the relationship with literally everything changes a little bit.
Mm.
I feel like
Is there anything that sticks out to you then for like this past year?
probably like honestly just like comfortable in my own skin, and like
Really, you weren't? Sorry, I don't mean this in a bad way. Like, you always seem so confident or like secure. Like, you always did your own thing.
I think a lot of it maybe I was like at the mercy of my like surroundings and stuff, but I didn't really feel it within so much. I'm starting to just feel more like I don't, how do I put it, like just like healthier. Like I don't need approval, I guess. And well, one thing actually I could say that I feel is like I think I really wanted to feel like understood fully by everyone and like sought validation in feeling like that. And now I think okay, this is on love. This is what I was thinking about. Okay, so it's like I want it to be like, I guess I thought love was more something you could like intellectualize, where it's like, okay, actually what I'm thinking about is this there's this song Bold as Love by Jimi Hendrix that on the Where the Light Is live album by John Mayer, he does this like kind of corny like spiel in the middle of it, which I'm like kind of obsessed with. And he's like, got your back, love. And then I was thinking about that, like that's the kind of love that we like really need. It's just like, I got your back, no questions attached to it. And like feeling that and not having to like feel understood and just knowing that that's what it like the love is, that makes it a lot easier.
It's like unconditional.
Yeah, because you can't expect everyone to understand you, and you know, because you really don't know what other people are like. It's, I guess, like someone like understanding you would be like the sum of its parts, which is like the receiving end of that understanding like from the other person, and then it's the way that the one person would present the information. Like so it's like being understood is like there's so many variables, and nothing about it needs to be personal, but when there's that trust between people of like, we got each other,
you'll be there,
we'll figure it out. And oftentimes like that, once you have that as a foundation for like anything, I feel like you can work with that and like build from there. Like, and maybe when I was younger in Coquitlam, like kind of uncomfortable or stuttery, or and I'm still very much so working on all of this stuff, but like starting to feel more secure. It's like that's a good place to build on, I guess. So the other confidence maybe felt like I was trying to prop myself up a little bit or something different, which we'll all do, and I still do, but you know, like everybody. But I guess that's the difference. I don't even remember what the question was.
I don't know why. Sorry. Okay, wait. So for you to come to this conclusion of like I don't need to be fully understood, was that like very cognizant, or like? Well,
you know, it does. Like I feel like it's you feel like it hits you in moments, but then it like it's very slow, like
a culmination of it all.
Yeah, like you know, do you ever have like when you're like working on stuff or writing, like just moments of like clarity and confidence and creative, and like it's like a flow state or whatever where you're writing in, and then it's like things can kind of wear off and you're back, and it's like
you have to get like your traction, or like
it's like first thing in the morning saying like I didn't make any mistakes yet today. It's like easy to say, and then you go through and it's like, oh crap.
You said you were like uncomfortable like growing up.
At times I just felt like, I don't know, like why,
in what sense?
It's almost like there's like stuff like weighing you down, like cobwebs and things you haven't untangled. Like I think about like a classroom like setting when you ask that, because it's like you see like kids and like did you ever like teacher asks a question and you think you might have an answer and you're kind of like your hand's not fully up yet.
Like I used to raise my hand all the time, grade 8, grade 9, and then one day I just stopped.
Gosh, though,
that's what happens.
It does happen to everybody, and it's it's always.
But some people still raise their hand though. There's still like those handful of kids, you know.
Yeah, those are like I was not that kid. Although at time, like maybe in periods, but not. I didn't feel like that kid a lot of the time. I guess.
That's a good illustration.
Yeah, it was just like I could see that like being like a picture, like a guy, some kids trying to like raise his hand, but there's like a bunch of like heavy stuff like above it that's making it really difficult to reach up. But one thing, it's like it's from friends' perspectives, and I realize this, like there's so much anxiety and stuff and people deal with. But it's like, from my perspective, the fact that you wouldn't raise your hand is like absurd.
Me?
Yeah. Like you were like after grade 9 you'd stop, and probably from your perspective,
wait, why is that absurd?
You're surprised because it's like, because it's like you're grade 2. Why do you have to worry about all the things you're worrying about? And it's like, and it kind of, I'm sure it would go both ways.
Yeah.
But like, that's the crazy thing about all this stuff is like to your friends and stuff. It's like, gosh, why are you dealing with that? Like, it's awful to have to worry about what people think or whatever. But then, like, from your own self, sometimes it's difficult, I guess.
Have you found ways to, like, break through that? Or just
time.
Life.
I guess it all goes out in the wash, maybe. There is, like, a song I think of, Most of It by Eric Church. It's like most of it. No, it's Some of It. That's the name of the song. But there's like, some of it comes from heartache. Most of it comes with age, which I guess is, like, kind of true. But good friendships and good people, and then just taking small steps to like towards something. We all need like a little bit of like support and like validation and stuff to like, there's healthy amounts of that. On top, I feel like, I was gonna say, like, for overthinkers, what's help, like, like sometimes, like, I feel like we talk about like well-being, like the pillars, like physical, mental, and like spiritual, and I don't know if there's like financial, or like there might be different like ones too, but I think spiritual well-being is really important too, whatever you like find, however you find that. But I found, like, as like someone who thinks too much about stuff and worries and stuff a lot, through like working on like spiritual well-being, it's allowed to like, it's helped me like circumvent like the logic and the stuff, especially like I don't know that much, like there's so much to learn, right? Or like people, you can go into like therapy for like years and stuff and try to understand things deeper, but it's like that's going to take time. But at least what I found, when you find some like peace on like the other aspects, it can help you to be like, okay, well, we don't know it all yet, but this feels okay. I like feel connected or whatever.
How have you found that connection?
Reading, meditating, oceans, bodies of water. Prayer.
What do you do? Like swim or just sit by the water?
There is that. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know. This is what I've done though. It's like, I'm having a bad day. I'm gonna go for a swim, and once I go in the water, I'm gonna feel better. And sometimes it's not even. I don't even think it's going in the water. It's like the intention of like doing something about it, maybe, and maybe the outdoors thing is besides the point, but.
Like a form of self-care or like a ritual.
Yeah. And being able to, with like family and stuff, at times I've like gotten impatient and it can be rude and like terse and kind of like just not the best to be around, and being able to like, not dump all that stuff on other. Now I'm very thankful that people are like my family are willing to listen to me and hear me out, but I've found at times which has helped for me is like, guys, I'm not feeling good, I'm okay, but I'm just gonna go take a little bit of time and then come back more recharged too. And that happens a lot with I keep on like running on empty. There's that Noah Kahan song. It's like, but if my engine runs perfect on empty, I guess that I'll drive. But like, it's like when I'm feeling like empty, and I just used to be like, I get all hyper and weird and stuff. But it's like now, that's
when
usually
you're empty, you would get hyper.
Yeah, like I'm running on. Like it's weird, but like when I'm like drained or something, like I'm trying to like compensate for it. It gets weird. Like I was trying to be like 2 nights ago I was like, I based my like entire self-worth on like trying to write like a song that would sound like Tyler the Creator, which I cannot do. And it was like, but it's like stuff like irrationality, I guess, when it's like, okay, this isn't time to like run away from your heart, but this is like time to run closer to it. And sometimes, and I've often found like that's when like ideas can come, but words will just spew, and like you just got to figure out like how to reconnect and stay grounded, I guess.
Do you find like a lot of your understandings of life through like songs or lyrics? You've referenced a lot.
Probably, yeah. Well, I've always liked it, and the feelings. And honestly, it kind of just, it's almost counterintuitive to like, I see people that are like, yeah, I process all my emotions through songs and stuff, which is like, and then I think like, oh, I should be doing that, so I have to do that, and then I'll feel like pressure, and then I won't be able to process my emotions. But there's always more like things like journaling or like talking seem to be good. But then it's like when you let go, then the writings and stuff can kind of flow out a little bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think always like certain lines have stuck like that. But it's like, it's hard to, if you ask me like to say a line that like stuck out, it's hard to think of stuff off like the top of my head, I guess, from some even like, but like then we're talking and it's like, oh, I feel this Eric Church song, or it means something, I guess. So it's like
so
kind of cool.
You.
Yeah, you just have to trust that. And that's, do you find that actually too? Like, do you ever like, oh, I'm never gonna have an idea again, or like, I don't have any ideas right now, but learning to like trust that they'll come even.
Yeah, honestly, maybe not the ideas necessarily, but like, okay, maybe the ideas. Like when you're struggling with creative block and just trusting that it will come back. Like it doesn't just end.
Yeah.
But it's easy to think like it's over. Like this is it.
Yeah, and you can totally do that in like a healthy way too.
Yeah.
Have you really tried to like force things before and gotten something? Because I feel like there's been times where I've just pushed and eventually something will come, but it's like, you don't have to like, you can wait. It's okay if nothing comes today instead. And then just often it's, I think the better or actually that isn't necessarily true, but like enough will come if you live in a healthy way, I guess.
Do you think of those things in like when you're creating or like when you're writing music, of how other people may interpret it or how you have interpreted other people's songs?
Maybe in like the refinement process more. I think during it can be like I think it's sometimes it's just like a genuine, I don't know,
like you just write.
Yeah. Like
I mean, I don't think about anything. I just do my thing.
It kind of just happens, but then it's like, oh, maybe you get something. Oh, that's gonna sound so cool. You can picture it, but it's like that might detract you from the main idea that you work. So it's like you can't dwell on that stuff.
Okay. How has your creative practice been?
I don't know. It's just been like practice, and I don't even know where it's at right now in its half-life or whatever. But like,
what is the goal? Or do you have a goal? I don't know if I have goals.
Gosh, I think like, I was thinking, I could say like make the best art without like compromising on my values, which has been dissonance at times, because then it's like, there's been like times where I genuinely thought, the only way I'll be good enough is if I compromise on my values, which is the kind of learning that's like not true. Like you don't have to. Like,
what values would you be compromising?
Just like how I treat people and stuff probably is the main one, which I'm working on. Like, oh goodness, like it's always a work in progress, but like, and then like teamwork and effort, like a lot of that was like, we were talking earlier about finding like fulfillment working with other people, and then things being more than like the sum of their parts. But like, just even getting to a point, like I've acted in ways that would be like, I would have been the weakest link in certain scenarios. My friends have been continuously willing to help, which I'm very thankful for, but I can look back and say like, I was unprepared or a mess or whatever in these kind of situations, and could have gone farther. But so weird, like I don't want to take that for granted, but there should be, I think, grace too for like your learning is, and just doing the best you can. So working on that. The values thing, I couldn't even tell you right now. Like, what are values?
Okay.
I like love outdoors.
Can't give that up. Have you found your people, I guess?
I don't think so. Like, I have and I haven't. Because, like, if I say, I'm overthinking this one now. It's like,
okay, we don't have to talk about it.
Have you found your people? If I say yes, then it's like, done. I found all my people. And then it's like, wait, I found some people. I found you. I found a lot of friends. People. There's no more people in the world. We're never going to meet anyone.
No,
honestly,
this is it.
I got some good friends. We're
I have
good.
good friends. I'm fine to Kappa here too.
Okay, all right. The end. No.
Was that hard, like moving to Ontario too, and like finding people or connecting with like even a community, I guess?
Yes, and I struggled so hard with it. But looking back, I don't even know when it went right, but even coming back there now, I have some like really amazing friends. And
That's
just like
awesome.
here, which is that the time, or like it's some combination of everything, I feel
Mhm.
like. How did that happen?
What did you do to like meet people?
Chance encounters.
Really?
A lot of it was up to chance. Actually, it was probably not fully up to chance because you went out and did something. Like
Okay.
I made a friend in Toronto this year at an open mic.
Oh,
So
cool.
that was cool. And I met another friend one time working at a golf course actually. 'Cause he was like volunteering in high school. And like I'm like, "Hey man, what's up?" And he's like, "Are you going to school?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to school." I'm like, "What for?" And he's like, "Oh, music." It's like, "What? That's sick. You like John Mayer?" "Yeah, I love it." It's like we just start talking about music or whatever, and then but that was like out doing something. At times I think I've isolated myself, which is not good but figuring out how to like have healthy alone time and healthy socialization time and find that balance is really important. So I think the struggle of like going out too much with not doing the right things and then spending way too much time alone, I guess you have to just like I guess it's like a work if you're figuring it all out.
It's all a work in progress.
Yeah.
I find the other way harder though, of like going out. Like I find it so easy to isolate myself.
Yeah.
I do not find it hard saying no to people. Where are you on
Interesting.
that? Or you're both?
I think a bit of both.
Okay. I mean, you did fly out here
You
for
wanna-
a camping trip.
That's true. But certain things, it's like, I think sometimes it can be like the grass is always greener if you're not like at peace with yourself.
Yeah.
Like one thing I've had some like just been like figuring out my voice and stuff and like straining it when I was younger a lot. And it was like when I should be resting my voice, that's when I really want to go out. So it's like a weird thing. So finding and you get used to that cycle. It's
just understanding yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh. Do you ever like I'm just thinking like when you're on like walking on the sidewalk, do you ever like get anxious like you don't know where to like look? Like do you like make eye contact with people
100%.
or do you Okay, I wanted to talk about this because like it's good to know because it happens so much. I'm like, do I look up? Like how long do I look? Should you look away first? Should I look away first? Should I just stare at my toes? Should I say something, say hi, or like it's
100%. And then you also were trying to figure out what their vibe is. If they would want to say hi, if they will think like you're creepy or something, or like. But that actually, I was talking to somebody else about this, and I'm not sure if it's a Coquitlam thing or just like a suburb thing. But when you pass people here, like people usually say hi or like good morning. Or maybe like older. I don't know if I passed you on the street and didn't know you. I don't know if I would say hi. But like, I think I would still like look up or like nod maybe.
Yeah, I mean.
But like in the city, like, okay, even coming down this or going into that trail earlier, there were two people coming out and they said hi to us, right? If we were like in Vancouver, that would not happen.
That's so true. Actually, that was one of the biggest transitions. But even from Coquitlam, where it does feel like more of a middle ground, when we moved to a smaller town after high school, it was like it would be so weird if you didn't say hi to someone. Or sometimes it's a how are you? Or like.
And you actually like have small talk.
Sometimes, but it's like to not say hello to people.
Is it like rude?
Yeah, I think so. That was a shock. And then sometimes like in Toronto, just like in the mornings, it was like, oh, I'm gonna say. Oh my gosh, this is. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna like. Every person I like every person I walk by on the walk home, I'm gonna say like good morning to and just see what happens. And it's kind of like, oh, this scares me, but it's fun.
How did the people respond?
I think 70-30 for good mornings back.
Oh,
but then
that's a really high ratio.
But this is on
for
my
like the city.
My experience. Well, pretty well.
Okay.
But like, what's really funny which is actually a lesson in like healthy boundaries and people not owing you anything. Is like, it could be like awkward when like you say hi or like no one says hi back and you're like you want them to say hi, but it's like nobody owes you like a hi, and just like learning that in like a healthy way. Like, don't get mad at people if they don't say hi back.
Well, did you go, like, were you mad at people?
I've had to like deal with that at times. We're just like walking dogs. It's, oh gosh. But it's like, yeah, nobody like, it's like, that's actually like a growth moment with like people when you can be like unassuming. Like, for me at least, is something like, it could be very easy to expect things, I guess. And then that's not right. It's like, it's nice when like, obviously, for me, like who I am, I like the back and forth. But some people are, they're maybe deep in thought or doing something else. So it's like, whatever the reason's really irrelevant. I guess the end thing is like nobody owes you like
nobody owes you anything. Do you have any other like realizations, epiphanies recently?
Yeah, actually, I got a new phone because I wanted to have like no one be able to contact me on one, and like just like use it for like music and stuff, and be very, very like, what's it like, closed off in one sense, or like compartmentalized for everything. And then I made like a new Instagram and like TikTok and like posted one thing. I'm like, wait, this is so boring. Like, I don't really use social media. But actually what this makes me think about is like, I've always felt like if my room is like a disaster, I would get really obsessive about it being perfectly clean. But if it's like 80% clean, like it feels pretty good. So it's like makes me think sometimes like the perfectionism and stuff, and maybe good ideas when everything's a mess, you're like, oh, this has to be perfect. But it's like you realize like the more sustainable approach is to like have maintain like a pretty clean room.
Upkeep.
And if you do, like, you might surprise yourself that not everything has to be like perfect, but it's a much healthier place to just be like, keep it like half clean, rather than like a mess and like obsessing over like, if you can't maintain it at like 100% just yet, then start with like 50%.
Yeah. Do you feel that same idea of perfectionism like overlaps with your music or writing?
I thought so, but honestly, like, I don't know. I think the perfectionism for me, like, I just don't think I'm like, how do I put it? Like, weird thing about music is like you could just like randomly like stumble on like a really great song somehow. So if that happens, like, great, but it's like I'm not the most in tune with everything, I'm coming to realize, like, and like, I don't know, like,
what
a
do you
super
mean by that?
like, if you were like, I don't know what it's like to be like a super genius like Prince or like John Mayer or something, or like, I don't, people that I think of that, it's like, or I don't necessarily be like, I've just never felt like the sharpest person, I guess. So it's like the perfectionism for me probably came, maybe for everyone actually, no, probably, like, I'd like to have things the best they can be because I want them to be, and I don't think it's anything I'll get to on my own. And in the past, the perfectionism stuff has been more like not being good enough, and this has to be perfect for it to be good enough. And then basically, instead, when chasing that, I think I would kind of half-ass things because I'd just like, oh, maybe mask it with like humor or something. But I'm like, why bother? It's not going to be, if I put my best foot forward, it's not going to be good enough. It's not going to work out. I'll have nothing left, so I'd probably just kind of whatever it may be. I think that's where it comes from. But the approach to being like perfect is like, okay, maybe when you're not closed off and isolated, you could be like, okay, let's make the best thing we can be. I think the flow thing was like 105%. Like, try to get a little bit, push yourself a little bit better in a way that works. And then it's like, things are going to get closer to perfect, but like, they're going to be as good as they can be.
105%?
Oh, okay. I think like the way, I forget, there was like a book or podcast I read it in, but like, if you're pushing yourself by like 5% of your like best or whatever, so you're doing like a little bit better, that's like more sustainable, like that result, rather than like doing like, I don't know if you can even do like 200%. I don't even know if I fully understand what I'm saying right now. Sorry. I'm not an expert. I just
well, that stuck with
read
you,
the
though.
linear notes.
Why did that stick with you?
Well, I think like sustainable growth is what I've had a hard time with.
Mm.
And I think like a lot of people.
Like
so
you burn out a lot, or
just ups and downs. Like,
Okay.
yeah. So it's like learning how to like work within your like range, and
Mhm.
rather than like, well, I could say like for singing and stuff, like you hit the like high notes and like without any training or whatever. It's like you could hit a couple, then you like lose your voice or whatever. But it's like I've had to learn this the hard way so many times. Like, this is what you got, and kind of understand your limitations,
Mhm.
work with them, and try to push them by like 5%,
Mhm.
rather than like be like, oh, I gotta be perfect, I gotta be like this person today. Then you might find like you won't, but you'll be different and far better than you even thought perfect was.
Mhm.
It's farther down the road, given time.
Yeah.
I think. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I think it makes sense.
Okay.
I feel like I'm taking away more like vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The West Coast does have vibes.
So, like, what was your experience like growing up?
Growing up, gosh, it was a bit like dissonance. Like, it's like negotiating between like what I really wanted, what I thought I was good enough for, what I could get. I think.
I've never heard that before.
I think that was it.
Wait, what were those things for you?
Okay, I've got an example. Would be when I was a kid, I really wanted skinny jeans in like 4th grade.
Okay.
I really wanted I wanted them, and my dad like convinced me to get the slim jeans instead because they were on sale. And I kind of pushed back a little bit, but he was pretty adamant about me getting these ones. And I think it was with like my savings or whatever, because from that perspective, he brought this up a couple weeks ago, which is crazy.
A couple weeks ago?
Yeah, because I thought about this kind of metaphorically a lot, and I never told him that or brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I remember I ended up getting the jeans, and I was like crying in my room.
The slim ones?
The slim ones, and I kind of cried about it in my room quietly for a little bit after when we were like in like
I really do be
Washington.
Like that. When you're like, what, 12, 13?
I was like 9, I think.
Oh,
maybe?
9. Okay,
Yeah,
that's even more
yeah.
acceptable.
Yeah, so. But like, no, that was like a thing, because from my dad's perspective, which I understand now, he was trying to teach me like good spending habits and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And from my perspective, I really wanted those jeans, and we still kind of like agree to disagree on this, because which is interesting as like a theme. Like, how do you navigate that, like, in life? How do you
like
work?
When do you treat yourself, or like do what you want versus do what like you feel is best for you? Or
Yeah. Because I could say, like, in a lot of areas I was very conservative growing up, and then other areas there's like the dissonance, very liberal. There's nothing to do with politics, just on how like I applied myself and how I felt about things and how I acted. So trying to like balance those is the thing.
Like, you do have to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like where you are now, and what can you do to get things? Should I get? When should you settle, and when should you?
Ooh, and when do you be risky, or like take the chance, or
and
when you need to take care of yourself, or like save up.
Yeah, because I think when you can figure kind of that out and kind of go from where you're at, it's like that's a good starting point. But otherwise, it's like if you're leaning too far in once, like if you're not taking enough risk, or you're taking way too much risk more than you can handle, both can be probably equally destructive to your like soul. It's like, yeah, you got to keep that fire burning, but you don't want to like burn the whole forest.
I think you said that the other weekend for something else, but that may have been literally
we did have a campfire.
What about like socially growing up?
Yeah, oh my. One thing I always found with peers, I'm still working on this a lot. I was often friends with people like a little bit older or a little bit younger, and I felt maybe like ageism or like things made that maybe I don't know if my sense of competition was very healthy, I guess. And that might be like that narcissistic, like sliding scale thing. It's like, oh, you're you gotta like rank people or to try to make yourself feel better or worse in areas, and it's really just messy. But it's like learning how to like make friends and stuff was good. But I think I found friends in shared experiences repetitively, like the outdoor program we did or in musical theater. Those were the two social things I really felt at home with, I remember, in high school. And maybe that's just like just people you spend enough time with people, they figure out your flaws pretty quickly and you can no longer mask them.
Do you feel like you're constantly masking?
I don't think so. I think subconsciously I probably still do to some degree, but as a kid, I think maybe I would hide my insecurities and stuff about talking a lot and stuff, or rambling, or being a bit domineering.
We talked kind of a bit about on this way here, but now I can't quite remember what we were talking about like being fully yourself or being fully seen and having other people in your life just be there.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
But I guess you didn't feel that growing up, I guess.
Well, I think I did. Also, I'd have to say probably, like, well, the problem was me, really. Like, learning how to, like, communicate to you better. Because sometimes I didn't feel heard or understood, but I think a lot of that was probably, I also didn't feel I was being, like, fully truthful about my opinions or how I would feel about things. And I think I learned that just that I was talking to my therapist. I knew there was like fight, flight, or freeze, but I didn't know there was like fawn. There might be other ones.
Wait, this is vaguely familiar.
So it's like called a fawn response, apparently, where it's like you try to appease your threat. Yeah, so that was kind of what I would do, I realized, in a lot of like social situations, and it's like that maybe lash out afterwards because of like I feel so insincere right now, like I'm just trying to like whatever. But then it was kind of wild, like I didn't even know there were four. Flight, fight, freeze, or fawn. I think you can have all of them though.
You can do all of them. Would you, or do you feel like that the fawn then is like your default?
Yeah, probably. Okay. It's weird. Like, do you ever like fantasize what you do? Like, if like in like I don't know if you were like in those situations, like threatened, but that's more like in like a physical sense, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I would have things of like scenarios in my head with people, like of like conversations going correctly, how I dreamed like they'd go, rather than like instead of like actually having those conversations, which is highly problematic.
I don't think so. I feel like that's a very normal thing to do.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like the equivalent to like talking to yourself.
Yeah. Too, also shape-shifting a little bit too. I thought it was, as humans, like there's like a natural level of like, if you're with one group of people, it's another group of people, like there's going to be some like variation like in how you can,
different senses,
And it's like there's nothing wrong with that. Like I used to think, like to an extent, right? Like if you're completely changing for like a group of
or like
people,
you're changing like your values or like.
Yeah. Have you ever had to like felt like that? Did you ever feel like it was wrong doing that?
I don't know if I ever felt it wrong. I don't think I ever like really changed myself, but it did always, like I was anxious towards the idea of having all my friends meet each other or something, or if I were to ever have like a birthday party, I would never mix.
This is bad. Last year there's like a 3-month period where I was convinced that anarchism was a cure for social anxiety. Like
how did that turn out for you?
Well, it doesn't work. It's like a mask, obviously, but like it's like what happens, I don't know, like parents get divorced or whatever. It's like you're like, oh, what's gonna happen if like I don't know, we get married or something, and it's like, oh, I'd love to see it all burn and go up in flames. And if like people have like bad relationships, you just like get them in a room together, and you're like, oh, you're worried about you're gonna offend people.
It sounds like you just like to stir the pot.
Yeah, but I thought like that would be like, okay, I have nothing to be afraid of, because if I enjoy watching the
like
world burn.
Exposure therapy or rejection therapy. Wait,
what's that?
like people like put themselves in situations where they anticipate being rejected and like learn to be okay. Actually,
Oh
definitely fact check
shoot.
this. I don't know if this is actually true, but I feel like it's trending on social media right now.
Interesting. That I could see that being. I've definitely felt that. Like,
Yeah. But like there's a high likelihood of you being rejected, but you still
still do
do
it.
it. Cuz then you're basically like not afraid to fail, or like yeah, you build the habit of like being okay and like just okay on to the next one type of thing.
Oh yeah, there is that. I do see that online.
Like I think it's like sort of what you were saying earlier about your music and like creating, like you had all the opportunities and the people, but you were kind of like afraid to like fail, or like it wouldn't
to
be
put the best foot. Yeah.
So then you just practice doing it wrong, or you practice like messing up, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I think you can. I think that's another thing that's like kind of like a fine line too,
Mhm.
because
You don't want to just do it wrong.
yeah, and you can. I do think like if you do it too, you can be like pretty. You can discard other people, but if it's like harmless and like you're just, you know, trying to like build your confidence, it's probably a great way to do it. Then that's a good point actually. But
Is this your new thing?
but you gotta be careful.
Yes,
Well,
be careful.
you don't want to like
be considerate of other people.
Yeah, like don't like
Don't do anything bad.
Yeah, don't be nice. Just be cool and be yourself. Be the best. That's one thing actually too, because there's like be yourself, and there's like try to be the best version of yourself, which is like that's something I've had to like probably another balance too of like accepting yourself, but also pushing. Because you're otherwise like because I think you can get on either side of it, like
and you can justify any bad thing you do because it's like just you.
Yeah, and there's like a phenomenon of like validating every emotion, which can be as destructive as and also on the opposite end of that is like invalidating and really completely disregarding all your emotions. So there's got to be some.
Wait, what's wrong with validating your emotions?
Like every emotion, like for me, I can like really deceive myself and like and I could just go down this
like spiral, I guess.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'm very thankful to have a lot of people that will listen to me ramble about my problems and everything, and I can see it how draining it is, I guess, and I've needed that probably to start, and I'm very thankful for that. But as I've like kind of felt more empowered and stuff, it's been more like, wait, I'm allowed to say, or like I can just practice, like I think it's like cognitive behavioral therapy, but like change those patterns of like, okay, I'm just not gonna go there and like gonna find an alternative approach that's better. And then a lot of those, like I try to think of them as like dust clouds, or like clouds, they always pass. And like in the dust cloud sense, it's like they're very like dangerous and ominous, and like they look heavy and like they're all stirred up, but it's like they're like literally just weightless. Like just, I mean, unless you like got all, if it's like grains of sand and like you got them all together, and like that they might be like sandbags, like it might be heavy, but like, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
Whoa. Oh boy. No, I'm just like, this is awesome. Like I'm really thankful to be here.
Oh, of course.
Like it's so much fun.
And so thanks, Debbie, too.
Yes. No, seriously. This is like when you told me, actually this is maybe should say, like you asked me about the podcast. If you do it, I was like immediately my brain, no, I'm like no, I can't. There's no way. That's not, I'm going to say too much. I'm going to be found out or whatever. I'm just going to be honest. And then it's like, wait, no, this is stupid. Like, and then I'm really thankful because like people, like my friends like you, I know like I can trust, like it makes me realize like, well, I could say things stupid, but I'll still have my friends at least, and which what's way more important. I care about them far more than like some stupid thing I say or how it's interpreted. So that's been very grounding, which I'm very thankful for.
Actually, that is having people that you can depend on, and be like honest with and authentic with, and like fully knowing it's okay to screw up.
Yeah, that's so true. Like in that, ironically, I think like having that feeling of like you're okay to screw up or make mistakes, that's how you like get from there to making less mistakes and getting better.
Yeah.
So rather than like that perfectionism,
you feel grounded. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like really cool to like just put it out there and like put any like and then just kind of roll with it. But it's like when you something too is like, what's the worst that could happen, right? Like, well, I still have my friends. Like, I could say something really stupid, but whatever. Like, worst case Ontario, like, it's not that bad.
Is that our last battery?
Oh no more batteries.
Okay, Liam. What is your most fond memory of Coquitlam? Or when you think of Coquitlam, what do you think of?
Okay, honestly, the first thing I thought of, maybe because we're not far from here, is like when we'd have like a lot of snow, like going to like Westwood and like going sledding. Like, so much fun.
Would you go sledding here?
No, it was like farther up, kind of that way, but that was really fun. My mom broke her ankle once doing that, but other than that,
there are some big hills here.
Yes, it was, gosh, mountain biking, sledding, everything.
Lots of outdoor stuff, eh?
Just love it. Can't stop. Addicted to the shindig.
Okay, well, our battery is gonna die very soon, so I think that's a wrap. Thank you so much, Liam, for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
Today's episode featured Liam Savage. Special thanks to Sebi Sarani. Oh yeah, you go.
Oh, I just wanted to say have a nice day.
Music composed by Rachel Jang. Produced with the support of TELUS STORYHIVE. I'm Joshua Louie, and this is The Burbs.